In the Song of Ice and Fire books, Joffrey's story was never what you thought. Spoilers for all books and seasons. Stick with me to the end to find out who really killed Gentle King Joffrey, because I've got 6 other theories coming right up, and I promise you that you have never heard any of them before. Theory number 1. Jon will marry Val. Jon's story is the story of the underdog, of doing nothing wrong yet having a prim and proper hater, of being tossed in with the worst convicts, of realizing and recognizing his common humanity with those all around him. Consider if he were to offer protection to a girl who has endured the roughest edges of life, or to symbolize his commitment to enlightened values, the idea that the small folk have a greater enemy than each other. Their ship is the galley that will row the human soul to safety. I call this brand new theory of mine Jon Valjean. Theory number 2. 5 in-story years will pass between the Dance with the Dragons and the Winds of Winter. Ever hear of the 5-year gap? Gurren originally intended to pick up the story after A Storm of Swords 5 years later, and he took 5 years to Tuhi A Feast for Crows. Since A Dance with Dragons, we have been subjugated to the following temporal presentisms: 14 years, 0 book, and 0 5-year gap. And in this world, there's no such thing as coincidence, merely the faintest ruse of a coordinated happenstance. During the confinement of COVID,
It's for the best.
I believe that Gurren asked himself, too many plots, too little time, and he rewrote a 5-year gap into the Winds of Winter. That process has taken 5 years and will end when The Windy Winter releases this December.
The Winds of Winter.
What does the gap solve? It cuts the Meereenese knot to pieces. Daenerys will be enjoying a fine Pentoshi cocktail before she sets sail for Dragonstone, completely confident in the grand strategy of her right hand, Victarion Greyjoy. Too many Stark claimants? With 5 years to kill each other, we're free to root for the last wolf standing. Whakahira endgame villain Cersei Lannister can reclaim her rightful throne. She just has to kill the High Sparrow, Lancel, Bronn, Marjorie, Elena, Mace, Aegon, Jon York, Tom York, Gareth, Littlefinger, Sansa, Doran, Lymeria, Tyene, Oberyn, Euron, Dunhart, Brandon, Ray, Howie, Sands, himself. Why don't more authors just imply that all the good bits happen between books? Theory number 3. Jaqen H'ghar is secretly Ironborn, and a man does not forget where he comes from. A man helps a girl in Harrenhal. A castle was built by King Harrenhal, who ruled the Iron Islands. A man's father died long ago, and the Ironborn are nothing if they are not the 27 Club. What is dead may never die, so the faster you dead, the sooner you may no die. And a man teaches a girl to present a coin and say a whakatoki, Vala Morgulis, to get to where she wants to go. That is, a girl pays the iron price for the right to climb aboard a boat on the ocean. A critic might argue that a man is described as having an accent from Lorath. But a man lies. When a girl arrives in a city, a man is not there to meet no one. How is an audience supposed to know what a Lorathi accent sounds like? An author would never bother to take us to a random city on another continent. That would be an uneconomical use of time. In A Feast for Birds, an alchemist who resembles a man bribes a loser for a key into a citadel, and a pirate who likes magic is sailing to sack a citadel. A magic man is now in a citadel. An Ironborn will let an Ironborn in to loot and pillage. An A key on my keyboard is on its last legs. A script says Kila Morgulis. Theory number 4.
What?
The Sand Snakes killed Jon Arryn.
John Ron?
A critic might argue. You might criticize that, arguably, Lysa Arryn killed Jon Arryn. Silly critic, weren't you reading the chapter? We're told that she's lying by Littlefinger. The Sand Snakes are master poisoners and plotters out to wreck the Baratheon regime. And after Bobby B took power, who was the only representative he sent down to Dorne? That's right, it was Jon Arryn, bringing the bones of Dornish dead. In the heat of the moment, all the snakes had to do was apply long-lasting poison and let it work all its magic over the next 2 decades. Theory number 5. Daenerys will intentionally bring the wall down so her dragons can go to the heart of almost winter. By the end of Dance with the Dragons, Daenerys has lost all patience with delays to a world conquest any % speedrun. Bad advisors are descending on her like locusts to egg her on to ever more violence. And we keep getting told that guarding the wall is...
This is... What? This is boring.
In the Game of Thrones, one ice dragon defrosted the wall. Did they get that from Gurum's notes? You might can and ban this plan as unspeakably dangerous. But think about it. Dragons rere rotos de ho. And the prologue to Winter is Coming establishes that White Walkers can't climb trees. Theory number 6. Sir Shadrich will kill Samwell Tarly. You may not remember Sir Shadrich. It's not for me to say whether or not you're a true fan. In Feast 1, Brienne for Crows, Gurum makes some fascinating choices while introducing the knight. Shadrich, hunting for Sansa to ransom her, is described as a mouse, emphasizing the red eyes on his heraldry. The Mad Mouse, he calls himself. And in the next chapter, Samwell fails to slay a mouse. A mouse with red eyes.
Beholding red eyes.
You might criticize argument that Sam is the Slayer, but the claim that he killed a White Walker simply doesn't pass the Kakara test. Even if Sam genuinely believes he killed a White Walker and his eyes were shut, what does he know? Sorry, what's that? Gren witnessed it? There was a lot of snow. All it'll take is Sam striving to serve as superhero to save his brother's sister Sansa from Sir, and that Shadrich the Slayer scuppering the schemes of 2 Starks simultaneously. That brings us to our 7th and final theory. Oh, the misery. Everybody was trying to kill Joffrey. Everybody was trying to kill Joffrey. It's time. Bring in the suspects. I have deduced how, when, and why each of you lowlifes made your move to kill poor innocent King Joffrey. Lady Olenna Tyrell of Highgarden, what are your means? You adjusted the hairnet to extract the strangler. When was your opportunity? After Tyrion refilled the wine, strong King Joffrey drew his sword to chop open the pie and release the pigeons. Amidst all the excitement, you slipped the strangler into his wine. Why'd you do it? You knew free King Joffrey could not be controlled. You killed him so your granddaughter could remarry a more pliable puppet, the beat-bannered Beat Banner. The glove fits. The Queen of Thorns poisoned the rightful King Joffrey. Lord Peter Baelish of Harrenhal, what are your means? Your merchants found the tears of lice for Jon Arryn, did they not? Methinks you had the disposable income to afford the strangler for a king. When was your opportunity? You ordered your lackey Dontus to gift Sansa the hairnet with the strangler in it. Why'd you do it? So you could frame Tyrion. Once Cersei executed him, Sansa will be free to remarry. Oh, and just one more thing. You went to all this effort to abduct Sansa so you could brag about this totally epic crime you did to her. And then you had your drunkard lackey walk her down this long flight of rungs embedded in the side of a cliff. What if it was windy, Lord Baelish? What then? It'd be a bit bloody awkward for your plot if she splattered on the rocks, wouldn't it? And then there's no way Dontus would dare come to you empty-handed, so he's out of there, and the odds of his capture and revelation of all that's transpired go up, and oh my god, man, couldn't you have invested in a flight of stairs? Richest man in Westeros? The goddamn Night's Watch can do it on engine grease and a dream, why can't you? What I'm trying to say is...
I'm a bit confused.
The glove fits. Littlefinger provided the poison for noble King Joffrey. Master of Coin Tyrion Lannister of Casterly Rock, what are your means? Tyrion IV, in a clan of kingdoms, proves that you stole poisons from humble Grand Mr. Pycelle. If you wanted the Strangler, it was yours for the taking. When was your opportunity? When generous King Joffrey bade you refill the wine. That's when you took the Strangler out of your pockets. Why'd you do it? You've got to be in the top 3 Joffrey haters all time, right? Insightful King Joffrey sent Sir Mandon to give you the King's mercy during the Battle of the Blackwater. Take Joffrey out, and the only cat's paws Tommen will be wanting are Sir Pounces in his lap. And you warned Cersei that one day her joy would turn to We held an entire trial demonstrating your manifest guilt, and then you demanded the retrial, and the gods literally made your champion throw harder than Team New Zealand at Te Kapu America. Too soon? Oh, and just one more thing. Remember when you literally confessed to Jean that you killed cheerful King Joffrey in a moment of raw emotional honesty? Oh, but he thinks he didn't do it. You know what Thought did? Thought Tysha didn't love you. Thought you're a Lannister, not a Targaryen. Thought you never traveled through time. The glove fits. The imp double poisoned the grateful King Joffrey. Varys, the spider of lice. What are your means? You literally star in the last released chapter in 14 years of A Song of Icy Fire, assassinating the 2 most senior men in King's Landing. You are in his walls. When was your opportunity? With Joffrey chugging wine and scoffing down pie, nobody would ever think to check for an alternate explanation as to why he stopped breathing. Why'd you do it? We had a good thing, you stupid son of Lys. We had Joffrey, we had a red wedding.
The Lannisters send their regards.
And everything we needed, it all ran like clockwork.
You could have shut your mouth like those little birds of yours, kept handing over your espionage reports, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up. You and your plans and your Aegon. You just had to manipulate Tyrion to kill Tywin. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now. Instead, Cersei's in charge.
Wow!
The glove fits. The spider, through the screen behind Sage King Joffrey's table, shot Joffrey with a crossbow. Prince Oberyn Martell of Sunspear, what are your means? I just did a whole theory dependent on the fact that your kids are great at poisoning people to death. You are the friendly neighborhood murder mentor. When was your opportunity? In Sansa 4, you spoke with Tyrion at the wedding. The perfect opportunity to smear him with poison. And when he picked up Pacific King Joffrey's cup, he passed the poison on. Why'd you do it? You wanted justice for the Lannister murder of your sister. That's why you prepared your spear for the mountain that rides. That's why you spiked Tywin's breakfast, and that's why you came all this way to kill Cersei's son. The glove fits. The red viper infected august King Joffrey. Hand of the King, Tywin Lannister of the Privy Council. What are your means? All the gold of Casterly Rock.
All the single dollars.
All the single dollars?
All the single dollars.
All the single dollars?
All the single dollars.
Bills, bills, bills.
When was your opportunity? You paid for the wedding. You organized every detail right down to a dozen disposable nobles instructed to rush Joffrey, form a human wall to block observers, discreetly strangle him in the guise of clearing his throat, and offer false testimony afterwards. Why'd you do it? You believe in the value of a harsh lesson. Saintly King Joffrey only became wiser and kinder as he battled for life, as evinced by his final action, extending a hand of forgiveness to Tyrion.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Oh, and just one more thing. Wedding murder is kind of a speciality. The glove fits. The Lion of Lannister throttled courageous King Joffrey. Prince Bran Stark of Watership Down. What are your means? You work with Bloodraven, the CIA director of Westeros. He's pulled off murders at a great distance before. When was your opportunity? You're a time-traveling warg. If you can't just Groundhog Day the wedding until your archers strike true, you can simply collude with the pigeons and the pie. Why'd you do it? In a Stormzy of Swords, both Tyrion 8 and Jom 9 prove legitimate King Joffrey sent the cat's paw after you. This was about Utu. The glove fits. The false King Brandon suffocated the true King Joffrey. Hot pie of King's Landing. What are your means? The best pie maker in Westeros. You know how to line that thing with so much salt, hearty King Joffrey might as well be biting into asbestos-flavoured drywall. When was your opportunity? In mixing up a storm of swords, Bran 4 proves the existence of otherworldly portals in and out of kitchens in Westeros. Ergo, wherever you baked the fatal pie, you could deliver it to King's Landing kitchens. Why'd you do it? You could see the small folk starving all around you as a short-term side effect of the policies of pragmatic King Joffrey. This was a deed worthy of the Brotherhood without beats. Oh, and just one more thing. If the small folk would just show industry and entrepreneurial thinking, you lot could hammer the crossbow bolt skillful King Joffrey shoots into crowds into tools and trade goods, worth far more food than gifts of bread could ever be. You know how the old saying goes? You give a man a fish and he's fed for a day. You kill the man standing next to him with a fish and you feed him for a lifetime. The glove fits. Hot pie fatally overwhelmed the sensitive taste buds of the sweet-toothed King Joffrey. Lady Sansa Stark of Winterfell. What are your means? You had the murder weapon on your head. When was your opportunity? Nobody ever suspects a meek mouse like you, as evinced by the fact that you carried a murder weapon into a royal wedding. Nobody noticed even when Olenna called attention to it, and nobody thought to stop you fleeing the scene of the crime. You escaped out of an entire city after assassinating the ruler of the continent. You could shoot him on 5th Avenue with a flaming ballista, and no one would notice. Why'd you do it? The pages aren't for chewing, you can read them. And just one more thing. Before anyone thinks to say anything about her memories don't match the story, she is the only POV character who straight up, actually, factually hallucinates things that did not happen. In A Storm of Sandwood, Sansa 2, she remembers Sandor Clegane kissing her, and you can go back and reread these events in A Clegane of Kings, Sand 7, because he doesn't in that chapter or any of them. There's no ambiguous language or implied moments. Her memory is straight up fictive. The glove fits. Wolfless stabbed faithful King Joffrey with Widow's Wail. We come now to our 10th and final suspect. Bring him in. Joffrey Baratheon.
You know how it goes. Fill in the damn titles.
King of the Andals, the Rhoynar and the First Men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms,
Titles.
Protector of the realm of Westeros. But why? Oh, why would you do this? You've been raised to believe that you're a very special boy who gets what he wants. This was your special day. And what could make a day more special to one-of-a-kind King Joffrey than watching droves of people die? What are your means? You got away with ordering a headsman to kill Ned Stark in broad daylight in front of a heaving crowd while all your advisors try to stop you. I'm pretty confident that you could cobble together a truckload of poisons off of Pycelle or whoever else. Mass murder doesn't require the subtlety of the strangler. You could just ask the cooks to dump in 2 cups of cyanide and 3 of nightshade. When was your opportunity? You were stupid enough to get so hungry and so thirsty that you forgot you made sure that pastry could kill an elephant.
Good.
The glove fits. The last person to strike and kill the lamb-like King Joffrey at his own wedding was the leonine King Joffrey. And with that, our investigation concludes. We've exhausted every possible Brutus who participated in this heinous treason against great King Joffrey Baratheon, the ramifications of which will ripple through the ages. The list is exhausted, the names are done. There is no one left to blame. Gurm's writing is revealed in its entirety to us all. Ned Stark